You middle-aged, low-educated folks probably got laid off somewhere. If you can answer this question, I'll hire you for $3 million. But that's not gonna happen.
The interviewer, unaware that I was the disguised president, was saying whatever he pleased.
Understood.
I casually answered the question.
Go ahead and hire me for $3 million.
The interviewer was taken aback by my demand. What was that question? I'm Steve Ford, 55 years old. Last year, I took over the company my father built from scratch and became the president. Initially, I had no intention of taking over my father's company and went to the US to pursue a career as a musician after high school. But after 10 years, realizing my limitations, I returned home. My father invited me into his company despite my lack of education and skills. At first, I was reluctant, but with the help of those around me and discovering my passion for manufacturing, which I inherited from my father, I made it this far. With me as the president, my father became chairman of the board, and I was in my second year as president, working with the executives to check on the company's various accomplishments. While production and sales performance were not bad, I was concerned about the HR department. Carter, it seems the performance of our recent new recruitment has been poor compared to previous years. I asked the executive vice president, Carter.
Yes, President. Until now, almost all applicants who made it to the final interview were offered a job and joined the company. But lately, there have been many withdrawals after the final interview.
Carter also tilted his head in puzzlement. The interview process starts with document screening, and only a few make it to the final interview. Normally, if someone wishes to join our company and makes it to the final interview, they would naturally get an offer and join the company. But strangely, in recent years, we've had many withdrawals on the day of or the day after the final interview. There have also been several cases of people withdrawing after receiving an offer. Moreover, all these applicants appear to be excellent talents based on their resumes. Maybe our rival companies are poaching them. Suspicious, I decided to thoroughly check the HR department's operations over the past few years. What I discovered was that even applicants who passed the first interview would withdraw on the day they received their acceptance notification. And again, all of them were excellent talents. There are up to 3 rounds of recruitment interviews, mainly conducted by HR interviewers, but when it comes to the final interview, other executives and company officers also participate. Many companies have their presidents attend, but due to my frequent business trips abroad, it's difficult to schedule interviews, so our company's final interviews are handled by directors and higher-level officers. Even if the company is currently performing well, we cannot maintain healthy company operations without constantly injecting quality talent and rejuvenating the company itself. Securing excellent talent is a significant investment for the company. Not only are we hiring new graduates, but we are also conducting interviews for potential hires from other companies, and here too, our performance has not been good in recent years. This is not good. I definitely felt a sense of crisis. What could be the cause? I decided to discuss it with my father, the chairman. Dad, our company's recruitment rate has been dropping recently, especially the excellent talents. They make it to the final interview, and even after receiving an offer, many are withdrawing. It's not good for the company if this continues, and I'm really concerned. After listening to my explanation, my father thought for a moment and then began to share his thoughts.
That's true. Previously, Everyone who got through to the final interview and received an offer was happy to join. It's not like a rival company with better conditions has suddenly appeared. I have a suspicion. I think it might be due to Mike, who was headhunted by our HR department a few years ago.
My father's intuition, sharpened by years at the forefront of management, was sharp. Mike is an ultra-elite man who graduated from the University of Tokyo's Faculty of Economics and had previously worked at a foreign consulting firm. He was excellent at headhunting talented individuals and deploying them to consulting companies, rapidly growing those companies. Impressed by his track record, our HR department approached Mike a few years ago to join our company.
From my perspective, Mike was quite talented when he joined.
My father said with a pained expression. When Mike first joined, he was able to recruit excellent talents using his connections from his previous job. However, as time passed, it became visibly clear that our recruitment rate was deteriorating. Dad, there must be something going on. Determined to turn my suspicions into certainty, I decided to thoroughly investigate Mike. When I checked the internal interview records, Mike's name consistently appeared among the interviewers for candidates who unnaturally declined offers or withdrew from subsequent interviews. This can't be a coincidence. Let's start looking into this. I instructed my secretary, John, to investigate all candidates interviewed by Mike. Anyway, there must be some reason, so please investigate thoroughly. I told John.
Yes, securing excellent talent is crucial for our company's fate, so I will make sure to handle it.
Following that, John began conducting interviews with each individual who had declined the offer. Having to speak with past withdrawers wasn't enough. I decided to go undercover with the upcoming final interviews as an applicant. It was a good plan, but surely Mike would recognize my face, being the CEO. As I pondered what to do, I remembered someone I had met in LA and decided to ask him for help. When I started traveling frequently to LA for work, I became close with Kevin, a Hollywood special makeup artist, introduced to me by a local friend. He's a big fan of NY, having visited several times as a tourist. When he found out I was from NY, he immediately started speaking to me.
Good evening. I really love NY. Steve, please invite me to your place one day.
That's what he had said. That's right, I'll ask him. I quickly called Kevin. Kevin, I need your help with something only you can do. In return, I'd like to invite you to my place. Of course, I'll pay you, and your wife is welcome to come along.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm in. My wife will be thrilled.
Kevin was delighted and agreed right away. Once Kevin arrived in NY, he worked his magic so no one could recognize me. True to his reputation as a Hollywood special makeup artist, even I couldn't recognize myself. He made me look 3 to 4 years older, thinned my hair, added wrinkles and age spots to my face, and inserted a special mouthpiece to severely alter my teeth alignment. This also changed my voice, and no one would recognize me. To test it, I approached John in the office without him knowing and asked as if I was inquiring about the restroom.
Excuse me, where is the restroom?
When I asked, John kindly directed me without recognizing me.
Oh, go straight down this corridor, turn right at the end, and you'll find the restroom.
I then revealed my identity.
John, it's me, Steve.
John laughed in disbelief.
Boss, please stop the pranks. You almost gave me a heart attack.
If I could deceive my secretary, who I see every day, There's no way Mike, who I meet only a few times a month, could recognize me. I decided to infiltrate today's final interview. Besides two other interviewers, the executive vice president, Carter, was also participating. I had informed only Carter about my plan, so I expected him to handle the arrangements smoothly on the side of the interviewers. Finally, the final interviews began. Today, besides me, there were two other applicants. At this stage, interviews are conducted individually with each applicant. I wanted to observe how the other applicants were treated as well, so I had set up a hidden camera without being visible. Of course, I made sure to comply with privacy regulations so that the applicants' faces were not shown. I would be monitoring everything from the conference room next door. The first interview had started. The first applicant was a senior from a prestigious private university. I had checked his resume beforehand. He was enrolled in the engineering department. His grades were excellent, and his thesis was interesting. He had participated in overseas volunteer work during his long vacations, demonstrating significant hospitality. He would become an immediate asset to our company within a few years. Mike was seated in the middle, holding the highest position among the interviewers, with the other interviewers on either side, and Carter, the executive vice president, at the very end. The job seeker, perhaps due to his experience from multiple interviews, responded confidently, and the interview progressed smoothly. Then it was Mike's turn to ask a question.
You've mentioned participating in overseas volunteering on your resume. What exactly did you do?
His tone was condescending from the start. Despite being taken aback, the job seeker answered,
Yes, I was inspired by an NPO in Cambodia that strives to provide educational opportunities to impoverished children. I volunteered in building schools there.
Mike responded dismissively and unimpressed.
But really, what percentage of children benefit from such efforts? By the time the schools are built, those children will have grown up and likely ended up begging, right? There's a mismatch in vision and speed.
He then dismissed it outright.
It's just self-satisfaction, isn't it?
The job seeker was visibly taken aback. No, that's not my intention at all. In fact, this activity is recognized by the local residents. He began, but Mike cut him off.
Are you attending university on a scholarship?
He suddenly changed the subject. Confused, the job seeker answered,
Yes, my family isn't wealthy, so I've been covering my tuition through scholarships and part-time jobs.
That means you ended up taking a scholarship because you couldn't get into state university like I did, right? If you were like me and got into state university, the tuition would be cheaper. And if you were a scholar, private university would waive the tuition too. Ultimately, you had to borrow money because you're incompetent, right?
Mike said harshly, crossing his arms. And here's the last question. If you can answer this, I might even pay you a salary of $3 million starting from your first year. But I doubt someone as incompetent as you, who couldn't even get a scholarship at a private university, could manage it. He added, then posed the question to him. I was shocked to hear the question. Certainly, no one could answer that. As expected, the job seeker, no matter how much he thought, admitted defeat with frustration.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Hearing this, Mike said, okay, time's up. No way someone with your low education could answer that. Thanks for coming to the interview. You can leave the room now. The job seeker left the room looking downcast, obviously frustrated. It's unlikely that he would join our company now. After a short break, the next candidate came in. The second applicant was a woman in her 20s, clean-cut and attractive. She graduated from the same University of Tokyo as Mike, the kind of person you'd call talented and beautiful. Her previous job was in the same industry as our company, and she had performed very well there. She had led several teams and achieved significant results. In our company, she was aiming for a management position. In today's age, we're desperate for young people who aspire to management roles. Mike was smirking as he looked over her resume. Clearly, his attitude was different from how he treated the previous job seeker.
You're very attractive. I bet you were popular with the male employees at your last company.
Not just the candidate, but also the other interviewers and the executive vice president were taken aback by his remark. Still, she managed to smile.
No, I was completely dedicated to my work, so I didn't have the luxury to worry about such things. More importantly, I'd like to discuss my motivation for applying to your company.
She tried to steer the conversation back, but Mike ignored her efforts.
Oh, you live in East Side. What a coincidence. I live there too. How about dinner tonight? I can tell you all about the company then. You graduated from Columbia University, right? It's lucky for you to be able to have an alumni visit at the same time.
Her complexion changed as he mentioned the name of her neighborhood. Sensing the inappropriate turn of the conversation, one of the interviewers intervened. Well, let's leave personal matters aside. Could you tell us about the projects you were involved in at your previous job? Relieved, she began to talk about her previous work experiences. Then, seemingly bored, Mike threw the same question at her.
If you can answer this, I might hire you with a salary of $3 million. I'd probably give you other privileges too.
Mike smirked and looked her over disdainfully. She attempted a few answers, but unfortunately, they were all incorrect. Hearing this, Mike said with satisfaction,
Okay, we're out of time. But you're pretty close, so I'll contact you directly next time. As an alumnus, I'll explain the finer details of the company then.
At this point, the woman's patience finally snapped.
No, thank you. I have never been so insulted. I would never want to join such a company even if asked. I would like to withdraw my application. Please return my resume immediately.
While the other interviewers were panicking, Mike remained cool.
Just because you're a bit pretty, you're acting all high and mighty. Women with strong personalities like that throw off the company's balance. It's good that you withdrew.
What a thing to say. This man seemed completely oblivious to what he was doing. Then it was my turn. My resume was under the name Tom Smith, a 58-year-old man with only a high school diploma and who had bounced from one job to another.
Excuse me.
As I entered, Mike looked at my resume and stared at me with a mean look. Probably still irritated from the incident with the previous woman. As soon as I sat down, Mike began.
Tom, it seems you have quite a varied experience with different companies. Why have you changed jobs so often? You don't seem to have any special skill set or technologies. It's a miracle someone like you even made it to the final interview.
While saying this, he scrutinized my appearance. I purposely answered hesitantly.
Well, I've never been one to stick to one place. Whenever there's a better offer, I switch jobs.
As expected, Mike took the bait.
Really? Someone like you, who can't get ahead, being headhunted by other companies. Stop lying.
Mike peeled his eyes and came at me. Then he continued his tirade.
People with your low education probably got laid off.
Then he posed that impossible question again.
If you can answer this, I might even pay you a salary of $3 million. But that's probably impossible for you.
The question involved filling in a blank in a piece of code from a currently developing program displayed on the computer. It was something incomprehensible to anyone not involved in its development. Mike had probably obtained a code from somewhere and enjoyed setting up applicants with questions they couldn't possibly answer. What a distasteful hobby. I felt sympathy for the previous applicants.
Understood.
I said and faced the computer. Mike seemed a bit shaken as he spoke.
Come on, there's no way you know. Just give up already. Someone with just a high school diploma like you couldn't possibly handle it.
Ignoring Mike's words, I completed the code.
Here, I believe this is correct. Could you check it, please?
As I spoke, Mike repeatedly checked the screen in his smartphone. He likely had a part of the code saved on his phone. It had to be correct. Because I was the one who had initiated this program and had been developing it with our engineers. After several checks, Mike, finding no errors, suddenly spoke in a softer voice.
Yeah, it does seem to be correct. Wow, flukes are scary, to randomly enter something and get it right by accident.
After his awkward excuse, Mike laughed out loud. However, no one else in the room laughed. I looked him straight in the eye and pressed on.
Excuse me, I answered correctly. So please hire me for $3 million. That was the agreement, right?
Nah, that question was just a test to see how flexible and hungry candidates are. I never really intended to pay $3 million. If you can take a joke like that, you won't last in our company. Sorry, but I just remembered I have a meeting with a client. Excuse me.
With that, Mike quickly left the interview room. If we keep conducting interviews like this, it's only a matter of time before applicants give up on this company. After removing the special makeup applied by Kevin, I made a final call to a certain individual. The next day, I ordered the 3 interviewers from yesterday and the executive vice president to come to the president's office. The interviewers who arrived seemed unaware of why they were summoned by me, the president. I casually asked about the final interviews conducted the previous day. I heard there were final interviews yesterday. I believe there were some promising candidates. How did it go? Mike then began to talk, seemingly eager to impress me, the president.
Sir, while many of the resumes were impressive, the actual interviews showed that the candidates were more interested in traveling abroad than studying. And the woman looking to change jobs was too flirtatious, trying to use her charm on the examiners. The third person was not even worth discussing academically or personally.
Hearing this, I probed further. But I heard that the only one who answered your question was that third person. Is that not the case? Mike, puzzled as to how the president knew this, looked shocked and glanced around suspiciously as if someone had betrayed him. Then he began to stutter his defense.
No, sir, that's not it. The purpose of this is to measure the candidate's responsiveness and their enthusiasm for the job. That is to say.
There's nothing different, I believe, as I was there in person. I said this and then held up the special makeup mask that Kevin had removed to my face. Seeing this, Mike's eyes widened in shock.
What does this mean? Was that third man yesterday, actually?
Mike's face turned pale rapidly. I had all of yesterday's interviews recorded on video. Mike, you are the worst, both as an interviewer and as a person. I will consider what to do with you in the future. As I said this, Mike began to plead.
No, sir, please wait. Yesterday, I was just stressed from personal issues at home. I swear I don't usually conduct interviews like this.
Well, let's see about that. I then clapped my hands sharply. As I did, several young employees and John entered the president's office. All of them had been interviewed by Mike. They started to speak one after another.
I was insulted by Mike for playing rugby during my student years, calling me a musclehead.
After the interview, he persistently called my personal phone asking me out to dinner.
He told me that being from a single-parent family meant I lost the parent lottery.
One after another, Mike's misdeeds were exposed. Mike, panicking, turned to me.
President, these accusations are all nonsense. I am a professional at discovering talent that benefits the company. You had hunted me for that reason, didn't you?
We have already investigated that matter.
John spoke quietly.
While it's true that Mike introduced numerous talented individuals to clients, we found through investigation that he was taking credit for other employees' achievements and had caused some to resign by setting them up.
Mike was not only incompetent in his previous job, but was also known to use his cunning to steal credit from genuinely talented and kind employees, causing their downfall. Mike, there are no excuses left for you. You don't belong here. We have received numerous complaints about you from the personnel department. You are to stay at home until we notify you of your disposition. Upon hearing this, Mike defiantly retorted, "Come on, what arrogance. People with no talent are ganging up to complain. I can succeed anywhere. I quit this place right now," and stormed out of the room. Thus, Mike resigned on his own, but within a month, he contacted me.
President, I apologize. Without my knowledge, an online thread was started against me, revealing all my personal information. News of my resignation spread quickly, and now, candidates who had unpleasant experiences during interviews are suing me en masse for defamation and harassment.
That stuff. I replied as if I'm not interested.
Now that my name is out on the internet, I get screened out in document reviews no matter where I apply. If this continues, my family and I will be left homeless. President, can you help me somehow?
Hearing Mike's tearful plea, I reluctantly introduced him to an acquaintance from my student days. He's involved in a wide range of businesses, so I think he might have some work for you. When I gave him the contact details, Mike happily ended the call. Well, whether it's a decent job or not, I don't know. I muttered to myself after hanging up. This acquaintance from my student days had reached out after hearing I became a president. He seemed to be involved in some dubious network marketing business, which I completely ignored. As expected, Mike was exploited by this acquaintance, ending up with a huge inventory of products to meet quotas. Mike's family, unable to watch his downward spiral, divorced him and returned to their parents' home. Eventually, burdened with massive debts, Mike went missing, fleeing from debt collectors. If he had even a slight ability to judge people, he wouldn't have fallen for such a suspicious business, but it seems he lacked that discernment. This experience has made me acutely aware that I should never leave recruitment processes to others. From now on, I vowed to always be present at the final interviews myself. After all, diamonds in the rough can easily slip through our fingers.